Welcome. r/SupernovaRevenge. Treat me like dirt for years. I like expose you at your wedding, and let your mental breakdown do the rest. Backstory: when I was in my first year of college I was assigned a lab partner who we will call Robbie. He was a nice fella to spend the long arduous days at college with, and over the 2 years of college had come to view him as brother. He had couple relationships throughout college. The first ran its course throughout the first year, concluding with a relatively peaceful end. His second relationship introduces the star of the story, who I had theorized as an entitled person. However, upon revising this tale, believe she is an insidious hag. Her name, Sally. College. Sally was lovely to be around for the first couple of months. I even admit some jealousy of their perfect relationship. Once the 4th month began, Sally began asking if anyone could give her some money for lunch, in which either Robbie or one of her friends would give her some money for food. After the 3rd time asking, next to no one provided anything, in which she dragged Robbie away and returned 10 minutes later with food. This continues for most of the year of her going around cornering people, sometimes even other random students, and shaming them into giving money or food. She attempted this on me once whilst I was waiting to be served in the cafete. At this point I'd had enough of her attitude and begging, so I loudly announced, "Stop begging me for money. It's not my responsibility to pay for your lunch. Maybe you should stop using the cash your parents give you for jewelry and iPhone accessories and actually buy your own lunch for once." After that encounter she never pestered me for cash again, but doubled down on pestering everyone else, and became extremely passive-aggressive towards anyone who refused giving her what she demanded. I told Robbie what she was doing, but he always replied with the same thing: "I'll talk to her later about it." He never did. Each time I pestered him about talking to her, he would happily stroll in with a odd smile on his face. Within a day of our report, Sally no longer begged or shamed anyone in college for the remainder of the year. And either it was finally over, that she had learned her lesson. But oh boy, she didn't. If anything, I had just stoked the fire of her rage, but she was unable to act upon anything, as she would have been kicked off her course if anyone else reported her about her activities. I savored my victory and enjoyed the peaceful last 3 months of college with her death glare constantly on me. Work/life. After we went our ways after college, most of the people from our friendship circle went to further education or began careers. I still remained in contact with Robbie and few others, and did what I could to support him in preparing to be a father. I even went to the extent of invited him and Sally to come and take care of my much younger siblings, to give them a taste of parenthood. Surprisingly, Sally thanked me for giving her the experience, and hadn't done anything out of the normal. I'd have expected her to do something petty to get me back, but alas, nothing happened. Robbie thanked me graciously for the experience, and offered to pay me back with some drinks, to which I had accepted, and had a good time, if I might add. It was odd. Sally was obviously pissed about me screwing her little Gilead tripping scam, but wasn't doing anything. I was extremely perplexed. I could see the anger in her eyes behind her love-a-dove smile, but didn't know what she planned on doing, so I stayed alert for anything out of the ordinary. This weird state was ongoing for a few months, with me noticing that Robbie was becoming ever more distant with me, and becoming more and more defensive about Sally, to the point that our friendship was hanging by threads. I had thoughts of terminating the friendship due to the severe animosity between us. But out of the blue I began receiving invites to parties, and was pleasantly surprised about the welcoming atmosphere. Even after having a drink or two, Sally was bearable to be around. I think we found a temporary middle ground during our mini Cold War. After a month of this middle ground being established, Sally began texting me more than usual, especially after I had attended the parties over the year. She usually asked me questions along the lines of, "Be honest, do you like me?" To which I replied, "When you aren't being pain in my ass every time." In truth, I tolerated her for Robbie's sake. With things being more stable between the three of us, and nearing the end of 2017, Sally must have been drinking one night, and began texting me very provocative texts. proclaiming that she found my stubborn attitude sexy and began getting bored of Robbie. This was usually followed by a nude. Let me tell you that, even when I first met her I didn't find her attractive, especially after she had her baby. She had let herself go hard. I told her very specifically, I'm not interested in you. Please stop sending me nudes. Thankfully they stopped, to which I praise the Lord. It was such an awkward position. The next afternoon I got a call from Sally. I expected an apology along with the explanation of drunk dumb shit, but nope. She went right into a crazed rant about me taking advantage of her whilst drunk. I was completely confused at this point. But here was the brief exchange of texts. Sally, are you in love with me? Me, not in the slightest. Sally, then what was all that last night? Me, you began the conversation last night, and before I could tell you to piss off and leave me alone you began sending pic after pic to me. It's not my fault for your drunken decisions. She remained silent and put the phone down. The nudes she sent went through a message, so they were permanently attached to conversation. It was like a jump scare every one I saw them. After a couple hours I received a call, and none other. Sally. Sally, I'm sorry, please don't tell Robbie I was really drunk last night. Me, I thought so. I won't say anything as long as you stop being a passive aggressive ass to me. I also suggest you talk to Robbie, but don't outright tell him about what you said. Sally, I promise. I'm sorry. After this happened the remainder of 2017 was a breeze, no problems at all. Robbie even proposed to Sally and wanted to get married in 2018. Everything was going well. Me, Robbie and Sally even went out for drinks together. However they conveniently left when it was their turn to pay for drinks, which I pardoned to not kill the mood. I hoped that her entitled behavior would subside, but I was wrong. Wedding setup. Around the start of March 2018 I received an invitation with small note inside asking if I could donate towards their wedding. At that time I was having financial trouble and told them so. Because I was pretty handy with Photoshop, Robbie proposed an idea which would use those talents. He asked if I could create a fancy collage as well as a slideshow for the wedding ceremony. Robbie asked Sally and she agreed. Sally and Robbie sent over 200 photos to me requesting I enhance them and provided an idea on how they wanted their collage. I told them I could do them both. However, due to the size of the task it would take me a number of months to go through all of them, as I had to go to work as well take care of my younger siblings. Robbie being the fair and understanding guy he was, suggested that they provide a few things in return, to which I declined at first, but he wouldn't take it as an answer and forced me to make 3 requests/conditions. The conditions we settled upon are as followed. I would be at the church to admire my handiwork. 2. I would receive a number of drinks on the house at the reception. They would be at my 21st birthday. I had gone to both of their birthdays and endured to make it a special even for them and wanted a one to remember myself. They agreed to the conditions and to make sure they would held their end of the bargain. Due to them skimping me on multiple occasions, I created a contract which stated, this contract specifies that Sally, redacted, and Robbie, redacted, will honor the conditions proposed by Criadajor. Conditions have been agreed by Robbie, redacted, and Sally, redacted. If these conditions are revoked or not met, Criadajor has the authority and permission to alter the collage and photo slideshow for Robbie, redacted, and Sally, redacted, in any way he sees fit. We all signed the contract and made them a copy, then set off to begin the projects. I didn't hear too much from either of them until a month or so after the signing. Robbie texted me telling me that money was running low and had to make cuts to the amount of people at the ceremony and wouldn't be able to include me in the ceremony or provide the drinks promised. I was a little irritated, but understood and told him I would forgive the 2 broken conditions if he attended my birthday. He assured me that he would be there, and I relaxed hoping he would keep his end of the bargain. May 2018 comes around, and my 21st arrives. My parents request I take my dog for a walk in the local park for an hour or 2, so they could prepare. I go for a walk, receive the text and return home. As soon as I enter the house I receive a royal birthday welcome from friends and family. After going around thanking people for attending I notice Robbie wasn't present. I shoot him a text, but receive no reply. I then call him a few times, but still no reply. At that point I'm a little irritated, but don't let it bother me and enjoy both the day-night. The following morning I wake up with a hellish hangover and a backlog of texts and missed calls from both Robbie and Sally. They are most likely going to apologize and offer to spend the day with me today. Nope. I called Sally and received a lovely morning greeting. Sally, why the fuck were you calling us yesterday? You woke up the baby. Me, sorry for waking him, but it was my 21st yesterday and was wondering where you both were. Robbie assured me you would both be here. Sally, oh yeah, we forgot about that and went on our date night. We went to what? Me, are you serious? Sally, excuse me? Me, you just blew off my 21st when I spent time and money coming to both of yours as well as providing you with a collage and a slidder shower for your wedding. Sally, I was feeling a little tired and told Robbie I didn't want to go to your stupid birthday. Me, I see how it is. I'm just a tool to you, aren't I? Sally, I'm sorry, alright, just please don't mess with my collage. I've told everyone that there will be photos of our life together and you edited them. Me, I couldn't give a shit. You and Robbie have broken the 3 conditions that we agreed upon and per our contract I can do whatever I want to collage and you can't do squat about it. Petty revenge mode activated. I was pissed. The self-centered cow cared more about a collage and a photo album and didn't even say thank you for it. I proceeded to spend over an hour messing with the photos, making Sally and Robbie cross-eyed, changing the color of clothes to really undesirable colors, and photoshopping in props into photos. It wasn't going to be noticeable at first glance, but would be goofy looking once you looked closely at them. I wish that's where this all ended. The wedding came, she learned her lesson. But unfortunately Sally isn't the type of person to take responsibility and accept the consequences. No, she ain't. About 2 hours into my goof improvements my phone began to blow up. Friends that I had made in college were calling, texting, and messaging me off the hook. It was pandemonia. I totally confused as to why my phone was blowing up, and since my head was getting constantly called I couldn't investigate. I had to shut my phone down for half an hour and wait until people calmed down and stopped calling me so I could figure out what was going on. I found out quickly. Sally had posted a full conversation of messages containing racial, misogynistic and anti-religious tones with my name as the recipient all over her social media accounts. I was livid. She had framed me as hateful hooligan and had over 100 messages on Facebook Messenger who were all pissed/confused. It didn't help that Sally's family were heavily religious, leading them to be more aggressive towards me with multiple threats of death being thrown in. I immediately got to work screenshotting the actual conversation, in which some sane people had calmed their anger and began asking questions. It still left me with near 100 people on the verge of beginning a crusade against me and even my family. It got so out of control that I had to call the police to help clear up the situation and had to contact Facebook to help with damage control. It took a week for the situation to calm down, with the police concluding that the conversation which had been uploaded was a fake. Unfortunately, they were unable to have a warrant for her arrest as no threats of violence had been officially made, but they were able to place a restraining order upon her as she had slandered my name. I was done. She wanted to ruin my life, so I would ruin her to make even. Nuclear revenge mode activated. I went back to the collage and slid a shower for further additions. I reached out to past friends of hers asking for anything cruel or mean she had said. They graciously obliged and sent me everything. This included every single drunk nude saying she was bored of Robbie and wanted to get fucked by a real man. Every time she thought her Bible bashing family were irritating her with their religious crap and just wanted them to donate her money. One friend had an entire paragraph of racist insults from a drunk rant. I think the most disgusting comment came from a cousin of hers who wheeled up as Alice. She sent me several screenshots of texts from her saying, and I quote, "Why can't you stop being selfish and just give me your grandfather's inheritance, you stuck-up whore? Do you know how much me and the baby need that money ever since Robbie stopped giving me his debit card details?" I was disgusted at that one. I was grinning like a demon when I was complete with this masterpiece. I had saved this edit to the website they would download it from and waited. I was counting on the fact that they would be too preoccupied with most other wedding related stuff to bother checking out the slideshow and collage. The one little hiccup in this plan was I was no longer welcome at the wedding, so didn't know how badly it would go. The day before the wedding I told Alice what I had done, and she was pretty satisfied about it. So as a token of my appreciation for her sharing, I asked if she would like to come and stay with me for the night, in which she accepted, and had pleasant night together. The result: we woke up the afternoon after expecting one of our phones to be exploding with calls or texts, but nothing, absolutely nothing. Alice called Sally's mother and sisters, but no one was picking up. She then called the friend who attended the wedding, I'll call Mel. After a couple calls she finally answered the phone. Alice immediately asked how the wedding was going, to which Mel began a FaceTime. It connected, showing me Sally on her own at the altar as Robbie had stormed off seething with rage, leaving her with multiple projectors revealing the texts about her family, friends and general horrible comments. I recognized a particular text being shown as it contained her disbelief and disdain for her family's religion. The screenshot then transitioned to a nude photo of her posing with her legs wide open, inserting a carrot in her lady hole. It was disgusting, made me feel repulsed and disturbed looking at it. I'm so sorry to all of the unfortunate guests of that wedding. That was a horror of nude. As you can imagine, the screenshots and nudes had disgusted and pissed off a lot of the people there, especially the pastor. I've never seen a pastor get angry before, but it was terrifying even from a FaceTime call. He began ranting at her, full on screaming in her face, saying, "You are disgusting selfish girl with no love in your heart for your husband or your family, let alone the Lord which you have mocked and insulted. You are no longer welcome in the house of our Lord. Ghetto you." Unfortunately that was all I saw through the call, as Mel had ended it, but had described the hell which broke loose as soon as the pastor tore her up. She was in tears with her family and friends, calling her a whore, bitch and scum among other things, whilst wadding down the aisle trying not to fall over. She exited the church and squeezed herself in the limo, bawling tears at that point, looking like a melting Barbie doll, all the while being taunted and mocked by her extremely pissed off two-faced friends. Most people just got in their cars and went their separate ways after that dumpster fire of a ceremony, said Mel. At that point I felt fulfilled and had showed everyone how much of bitch Sally was. I was so happy. In fact, I asked Alice if she would like to go on a date, to which she agreed, and had a wonderful day knowing Sally's had been ruined. That's where I thought this revenge had ended. Nope. May 2019. Was going about my day seeing an old friend about my 22nd birthday plans when I got a Facebook message from Robbie. He asked if I could meet him in a town center on a Friday, to which I asked what he wanted. He reiterated he wanted to talk. So I requested if he could meet in the city for a Friday, and he agreed. I was puzzled as to why he had reached out to me now. We hadn't spoken in a year, so I was nervous to what he wished to talk about. I went to the meet in the center with Alice, Mel and my other best friend, who we'll call Craig. He was sat on a bench alone with barely anyone walking around the center. He greeted us ominously, similarly the way Thanos talked to Iron Man, Cap, and Thor in Endgame. He looked skinny, but oddly happy, which kept us on edge. This was the conversation which followed. Robbie: hello my old friend, thank you for coming. But I have to admit I'm surprised you showed after what you did. Me, yeah, me too. Look, I'm sorry for what happened. I know can't. Robbie: no, I should apologize. You acted civil and respectful to the both of us, even when you were being disrespected and berated. I was love blinded by Sally and she abused that, turning me against you. Me: Robbie, if anything I should thank you. You opened my eyes. Me: what do you mean? He then began recounting the events of the wedding, in which I cut him off, telling him I knew what happened. He then dropped possibly the worst bombshell. Robbie, how did you find out about the miscarriage? Me, what? Robbie, you just said you knew what happened? Me, I knew what happened up until Sally got in her limo after being shamed and cast out of the church. I tried to find out anything about the aftermath, but her family wouldn't tell me anything. Robbie, that's because her family disowned. They were furious when they found out about what she had said about them, especially when she mocked and disrespected the church. Me, oh my god. Robbie, literally. Me, where did she go? Robbie, she went to the venue and had complete mental breakdown. She went inside crying, swearing, and ranting to the staff she would kill you for what you had done. They called the police after that comment and locked her inside whilst they made their way to venue and called me to deal with her. When I arrived, she had destroyed the venue. Tables had been flipped, glasses had been shattered, and she had drunk multiple bottles of wine. She was so dangerous and out of control that the police had to wrestle her to the floor and call in a police van as she was too dangerous to put in a car. I was speechless at this point. Robbie, it was a mess. It didn't help that she was 3 months pregnant, trying to attack anyone that tried to subdue her, that they had no choice but to lock her in a cell for her own safety and others. At that point we were completely stunned. We had seen her angry, but had not heard of her being this violent and out of control before. Me, what happened to the baby? Robbie, the amount of alcohol she had drunk had given her alcohol poisoning. According to the police, she was 4 times over the limit, and when they came to escort her from the cell, the floor was covered in vomit, feces, piss, and even some blood. She looked extremely ill and was taken to a hospital immediately with 2 officers in tow. She was extremely ill. The hospital performed a number of tests and exams and had confirmed she was having simultaneous liver and kidney failure from her poor diet and sudden alcohol intake. This resulted in her unborn baby dying from blood poisoning, and Sally confined to a hospital bed on dialysis for life. Even if she receives an organ transplant, she will have to return to the hospital weekly for dialysis to avoid death or coma. The part which really made me grin an evil smirk was hearing that, even if she receives a transplant, she will be serving time in prison for assaulting multiple officers, as well as paying the venue thousands in damages. Her life has been completely ruined. Do I feel guilty? No, more oddly satisfied. Sorry for the length and any spelling errors or duplicates. Autocorrect within this tale, but it was personal and wanted you to understand the frustration and hatred that I was feeling throughout the years. Hope you enjoyed the conclusion as much as I did. Disclaimer, this memory isn't perfectly recollected. I'm human, not a diary. Also, I don't know how it truly ended, as I can no longer care about this scar from my past. I moved on and away. TL. Dr. Best Friend's girlfriend shamed people for money in college. I stopped her. She then began being passive aggressive for the couple years after, whilst being civil for my friend's sake. Requests that I make them a slidder shout for their wedding in return, that they be present for my 21st birthday. Got frustrated by their absence and called them, only for her to angry that I ruined their date night and proceed to lie and blacklist me over Facebook. Managed to secure my innocence. Then reworked slidder shout to include vulgar texts and nudes at her very religious wedding, completely ruining it as well as being disowned by her family. A year later, friend meets me and tells me that my slidder shout sent her into a mental collapse, resulting in destroying her empty venue, drinking 4 times the drinking limit, assaulting police and workers, ending with her locked in a cell for a day. Was then taken to a hospital in which she had a miscarriage and simultaneous kidney and liver failure with next to no chance of recovery, with additional years or prison time to serve for assault charges. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you would like to see more, feel free to subscribe.